Welcome to Boss Up Babes, helping babes show up, boss up, and thrive. With #1 best-selling author, global influencer, and ultimate boss babe, Carissa Adkins. Carissa is a health and wellness expert and CEO of the 365 Daily Hustle, here to help mompreneurs and career-focused women boss up and reclaim their healthiest life. She is a pro at cutting through the BS and inspiring massive breakthroughs that help women create healthy routines and habits that facilitate personal and professional growth. Are you ready to reclaim your best life, take action, and be a badass boss babe? Let's get to it.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Boss Up Babe Show. This is your place that all women can come for some great advice and tips and strategies to really help you boss up and become the champion of your own life. Every episode, I promise to keep it always packed with insight and motivation and inspiration and empowerment that helps busy women, just really rise above to the next level of awesomeness. If you don't know me by now, I am your host, Carissa Adkins, your champion for women's mental and physical health, and of course, the queen of habit change. You guys, just a quick reminder, if you are listening to the show and you really love what you're hearing, if you love today's episode with Kim, if you love my energy, I would sure love your 5-star rating and review over on Spotify or Apple iTunes, whichever platform you like the most. But again, we're streaming on over 50 different platforms. So wherever it is you are, I would love your ratings. If you have questions for me, feel free to DM me. I personally go through all of my DMs and answer them specifically. So on the Boss Up Babe Show, I'm so excited for my guest today. She is a brilliant boss babe who is helping so many women overcome their trauma and really turn that pain into power. And on today's episode, like normal, you guys, we take conversations and we go really deep with topics that include money and relationships and business and health and resiliency. And today's episode is going to be packed with some really powerful insight and some empowerment and definitely motivation. So let me just kind of tell you a little bit about my awesome guest, and then we'll bring her on the show. Now, Kim and I actually met a couple of years ago. We collaborated on a book. It's called Women Who Boss Up. And Kim is definitely a woman who bosses up every single day. And she's just so kind-hearted. You guys are going to love her. But let me just kind of read a real quick bio. But again, if you want to learn more about Kim and read the full bio, feel free to, look her up. It'll be in the show notes as well. But Kim is an international #1 best-selling author, motivational speaker, and life coach. She is the founder and CEO of A Heart Speaks. Kimberly uses her infectious passion and humor to empower women to reach higher ground. She's a heart-centered person who desires breakthroughs in the lives of her clients as well as herself. She really, helps them gain freedom and wholeness and renewal. And that is her goal. And that is how she helps so many women have amazing breakthroughs and transformations. So with that, Kim, welcome to the Boss Up Babes show. How are you?
Thank you so much. Of course, I'm thrilled to be with the fabulous Carissa. And when you asked me to come on board with you, I jumped at the chance because you, my friend, are an amazing human and doing fabulous things. So it's a privilege and honor to be with you today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, the feeling's mutual. And I kind of want to, you're spotlighting me, I'm spotlighting you, but right now I just want to spotlight some veterans. Veterans Day is coming up this week. If you're listening to this podcast or if you're listening to this live on radio right now, we've got that. So many people think it's a great 4-day weekend, and it is. Don't get me wrong, for a lot of military people. But Veterans Day is an important day for just really showing appreciation to members of our military, past and present. So Kim, do you have any vets that you would want to quickly give a shout out to?
I actually do. He is a client of mine, so I'll just use his first name.
Okay.
But Drake is amazing and he loves our country. He serves with all vigor. And I'm privileged to be his life coach. So it's pretty amazing with everything that's going on in the world right now. Thank you, Drake, for doing everything that you do.
And thank you, Drake. Like just serving alone, like, you know, it's a pretty powerful like mindset, right? It takes a lot from you. I want to recognize my husband, Will, who I quite often talk a lot about, you know, like when we're talking about workouts or food or challenging or accountability partners, but, you know, he's very humble. And I find a lot of military people are they just, that's what their job is to do, to serve our country, to protect us. And my husband is no different. You know, he's always so humble, but I do want to give him a shout out because he is the strongest man I know, not just physically, but like mentally. Like these guys go through, these men and women, I shouldn't just say guys, but men and women, they go through a lot of stuff, mental, physical, emotional, and they need to be recognized. So thank you guys, everyone who is listening. If you know that, make sure you shoot them a text, a message, a DM that just says, hey, I'm thinking about you. Thank you so much for serving. And Drake, we're thinking about you too. So that's awesome that you have a coach. That's awesome. Okay, well, let's dive in, shall we, Kim? Today we are talking about how you can turn pain in, you know, past trauma and really turn it into power so you can step up to the greatest version of yourself. And you, I've heard your story, you know, I've seen your story on YouTube. It's phenomenal, but I do want to just like address that because you have turned that pain into not just power for you, but helping other men and women, it sounds like, to do the same thing. So tell me a little bit about your story.
Thank you. Well, my book, which I'm sure you'll highlight later, but Purpose in the Pain, I do believe that no matter what we go through, nothing is wasted, even the pain. And I went through a pretty big tragedy, and I would include my whole family in that. You know, I was married for 28 years, and I was married to a very good man. He was a good man, and he did some amazing things. We, you know, had the white picket fence life. Honestly, we really didn't need for much, and yet, you know, he was an attorney. He changed law in the state of California, and in fact, across the Supreme Court. He really touched a lot of lives, and we started a church together in our barn, of all places, but we started a church in our barn and led it for 10 years. You know, I was doing the women's ministry and the children's ministry, and he was the senior pastor, and 10 years is a long time to put your hand to that plow, but there was something that kind of was disturbing with him over the last year of ministry, and I just saw him changing. And it was about, well, I guess it was 6 months after he had stepped down. I had unfortunately found out that he'd been unfaithful to me, and there were a lot of situational things that went into that. I think there was a lot of mental illness that I, you know, came to find out later. And so this is somebody who was good-hearted but went astray, and he really lost his way and became a person that I did not know. And after we tried to go through, you know, various counseling sessions and whatnot, there was just a dead end. I could see that this wasn't going anywhere, and so we finally decided to divorce. And so we had been divorced for about 3 years. And because of his mental disorder, he began to, you know, drink a lot and get into some drugs and things like that, that really sent him spiraling down. And he told me one night that he was going to be getting fired, you know, the next day. And you know, I put on my counselor's hat, so to speak, because that's kind of my role with him. And I said, you know, you're going to reinvent yourself. We've been here before. You're going to be okay. And he just said, you know, I'm just tired. I'm just real tired. And I don't think I can do it. He said, but you and the kids, you guys will be fine. Don't worry about it, and this and that. And I said, well, when do you go in? And he said at 2:30. So he went in. I told him I would be praying for him, be waiting to hear from him. And apparently, 2:30 went by, 2:45, 3 o'clock. I wasn't receiving any phone call, and I started to worry. I actually sent him a few texts to see, are you okay?
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, he felt dead end as well. And so he unfortunately went in with a gun, and he critically injured one partner and ended up shooting his other partner and killing him before turning the gun on himself.
Wow.
And see, this is what happens when when you just spiral down and things are so out of control and you're grasping. And I take heart to the whole month, right, for the mental illness that are out there. There's so many people, in fact, even with our veterans, there's just a lot that we need to become aware of. And unfortunately, the percentage for these workplace things that happen,
Yeah.
it's skyrocketing. And especially with COVID, it's just gone higher and higher, and it's just very sad. And what that did for me is it caused me to ask a question, what am I supposed to do now? The bottom has just completely dropped. And I was grasping too, and our family, we were all grasping and not understanding, and we all came together. I'm happy to say that, my kids, I feel, are thriving, even though they miss their father greatly, and there's a huge absence there. That pain that I endured went through not only in my marriage, but after my divorce. I just thought there's this can't just be, that's the end of it. That's the end of the story. And so I felt the need to catapult other people, certainly women, because that's what I primarily deal with, to help navigate their life and let them know that, yeah, these catastrophes happen. These things go on, but it's what you do with it that makes all the difference. And so I felt the need to help other women reach higher ground.
Yeah.
And a lot of times through trauma, women, that's who I primarily deal with, they lose their voice.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what sent me in this direction of coaching and coming around.
I love that. And thank you so much for sharing that. That's obvious, it's a tough story to share. And I love that we're going to really turn this conversation from that painful story. And we're going to talk about how you can turn that pain into power. What do you do when the bottom drops out, right? Like, how can you turn this pain and heal? And what are some of the strategies that you maybe help your clients, overcome? But we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into all of that. Plus, of course, give you insight on where you can find Kim in case you are going through someone, or someone who you're like, they need some help. So we're going to be right back with today's conversation with the amazing Kim Loska. Hey, you guys, we are back, and I am, talking with Kim, and she's, an international best-selling author, motivational speaker, and life coach. But I really look at her as, a woman who, empowers other women to really take charge of their life and to see, like, life's kind of shitty, right? And sometimes it's not always dealt like the greatest hand, but you need to turn that into something that can make you better, that can teach you, how to just become a better version of you. We were actually just talking during break about how, it's kind of difficult to put your story like this out there and really put it in a book, right? Kim, isn't that what your book is predominantly all about, is purpose in the pain? Tell us where people, tell me about that book really quick, and then where can people find that?
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, really, the introduction is about what happened, right? But the rest of the book primarily focuses on lessons learned.
Mm,
And, what I found that I had to do, I was a stay-home mom for 28 years, and I had to pivot
yeah.
in a major way. Now, not having a job and not being married and all of those things, I needed to pivot. And so I think what happened for me is I actually got in touch with the person I was always meant to be.
Mm,
And through that process, I did lose my voice and I lost my identity and I
mhm.
had to rediscover who I was. And so with my coaching, what I try to do with women is to help them, I'm their voice until they find their own again.
Right.
And so I walk alongside of them. It's like a wing about them. And I walk alongside of them and I talk to them about discovering themselves
Mhm,
and also becoming very self-aware.
mhm.
I think a lot of women put blinders on or look through rose-colored glasses sometimes, and we got to get down to the nitty-gritty of who am I really? There's more to me than just being a wife, or there's more to me than just being a mom. Not that those aren't great, wonderful things, but I had a lot of other talents.
Yeah.
And so I needed to reach in and discover what those were. And a lot of times, some of the strategies that I use is that there's 3 steps. You need to look up, you need to reach out and step forward. And those sound very simplified,
Mhm.
but I don't know about you, but most of the time you hit rock bottom and the only way to look is up, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
that's it.
I think that like I want to just kind of stop you right there because I think it's important because I think a lot of women lose their identity, right? They get so stuck on I'm a career woman or I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a veteran. Like we put this title on ourselves and then we feel like we have to like live up to it forever. But like how do you think like women can truly be kind of like I believe that women can have it all, right? A healthy life, a thriving business, healthy relationships. And I know what it takes as a coach. Like I know what I would preach on, but what could you preach on, like the biggest tip that you can give women so that they can have it all? That's not just I'm a mom until the kids are 18 and then now what? Like and now I'm a wife and like what tip would you give for women who need to be a little bit of everything all at once?
I feel that knowledge is power.
Mm.
And I feel that sometimes we just stop growing.
Mm.
We stop our personal growth. We stop reaching beyond what we quote know,
Mhm.
and we limit ourselves. And
Mhm.
so I say, reach out to other people, do things that are outside of the box, because sometimes you have to shake up the tree a little bit.
For
And
sure.
that makes you realize, hey, I've got a lot of fruit on this tree. There's a lot of
Yeah.
things that I can do. And so I think, educating yourself about a lot of different things, not just the role, but
Mhm.
hey, I mean, my mom, she jumped out of a plane at like, I think it was 70 years old or something.
That's
She went skydiving and it's like, yeah, mom, I mean,
girl.
sometimes you have to just step outside of the things you've just gotten used to. And that can be like a petri dish, I feel,
Mhm.
just it grows, it multiplies upon itself, and you got to expose yourself to light.
Yeah.
And so I think getting out there, rubbing elbows with new people, like yourself, you and I've talked about menopause and, because hello, but, we've talked about that. And even in your practice, you're saying, no, don't just believe everything that people tell you.
Yeah.
Educate yourself, know that you can bust out, you can
Mhm.
lift weights, you can build your body back up. I mean, that was stimulating to me. I
Yeah.
don't have to just stay in this small-minded mold of, oh, I guess, after menopause, that's it.
Yeah.
No, there's so much more that we need to discover about ourselves. So I would say step out into something new. start learning, different types of things, reach for personal growth, have a pace setter. I always say a pace setter is needed. I was a runner in high school. You always need somebody just a little bit ahead of you to set that pace and to spur you on, to call you out and to call you further. So I would encourage women to do that.
Yeah, I call it the Maverick. I'm always like, find someone 10 times better than you, and then just like surround, their awesomeness with you. And I mean, it goes with business, like a coach, if whoever it is you're working with or hiring, or even a mentor, right? You wouldn't go to your best friend who's already complaining about her life to go and like try and get some awesome solutions about it. Go to someone who is already, someone who's already thriving in that area. Right. And you guys, ladies, if you're listening, like the information is endless right now. Like Google is our biggest tool and our resource. You do not have to, stay inside that box. If someone's told you what your life should look like, break out, right? Be courageous and break out. So I kind of want to talk about, and I think I heard it a little bit, but what do you do when the bottom drops out, when you hit that low? How would you explain? I think you gave it in 3 tips, but maybe go in a little bit deeper about that.
Certainly. Well, that is what I found in my process. I went from talking with women, because I've counseled women for 30 years. So it's been a very long time of me doing this. I know that I was just made to do this. And so honestly, for me, I had to look up to my God. I had to look up to something that's greater than me, and certainly my circumstances and what happened. Sure. I can't imagine that he's up there, wringing his hands going, wow, this is going to be good. Yeah. How's she going to deal with this? I think that looking up and coming outside of yourself, coming to the end of you and looking up to something greater than yourself. And then secondly, to reach out. We need to be locked arms with other people that can support us and give us encouragement, because, no matter what it is you're going through, I mean, this situation was pretty tragic. Right. But I love to take women, couples, individuals from tragedy and bring them into triumph, because I call that, if you don't do that, I call that sitting in your poopy diaper. You know what I mean? It's like, I know it's here. I know that it smells. Everyone around me can see it, but it's comfortable. And so I'm okay with that. We have to get to a point where it's iron sharpening iron. So locking arms with other women, other people who've gone through it, and then step forward, because you have those things in your life. It gives you confidence and the boldness to actually step forward, not back, not to the side, but into the newness, because I was determined, and I exhort other women, don't stay stuck. Yeah. We've got to step forward and step out of something. Sure, it may have been aimed to bring you down, but it's your choice. And it is a decision on what you're going to choose to do with this process. And use it for fuel instead of being stuck and held back by fear.
100%. I would 100% agree with that. Like really like taking that tragic moment. Like I believe the woman who I am today, I'm so resilient because of all the crappy sandwiches that I had to eat, right? Like the trauma and the abuse. And I'm like, I am so strong mentally, physically, emotionally, not because of all the weights that I lift, but because of all the crap that I've gone through. And then I've rerouted my mindset to where it's like, yeah, I actually, like this helped me become a better version of me, a stronger version of me. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you're 100% right. Is you can either choose to step forward or you can choose to stay stuck. But either way, you're either sitting in the poopy diaper, right, Kim? Or you're going to step forward and say, I'm tired of this. The crap smells. I'm ready to like get out of there. But nobody can want that for you more than you, right? What would you say with our final minute here, quick fire rapid tip, what would be the biggest piece of advice if someone's going through something really, like they've gone through something really traumatizing and now they're ready to get out?
It's time to confront the issue. We can talk about it, but honestly, raising that self-awareness of who you are and who you want to be It's going to take effort. And hey, I'm your life coach. I'm your girl, you know, and you do need somebody to help navigate your life and to understand that, you know, these things that we have, these coping mechanisms, if you will, they brought you to this place. But
Right.
sometimes, you know, you have to question that, and you have to look at the fact, hey, what is my coping mechanism? Maybe it's not serving me anymore.
Right.
Maybe I need to take the steps and reach out to somebody who's been there, done that, and can give you practical tools on a regular basis. Because the bottom line, girlfriend, you do not have to walk this out by yourself.
Yes.
And there's so many people that just they just hold themselves back in fear because they don't know how. It's not that they don't want to, it's they don't know how. And I believe in what I do. I love what I do because I get to help other women reach higher ground.
How can women, you know, like reach out to you if they are in that pain? Because yes, you are the Maverick. You've been there, you've done that, and now you're teaching women how to overcome that. So where's the best place someone can find you?
Thank you so much. So my website is aheartspeaks.com. That's my website. You can contact me through that. I'm also on Facebook, so you can look me up there, Kimberly Loska, or I'm also on Instagram at aheartspeaks and the number 2. I would love to chat with you, and of course extend a breakthrough session to anybody who reaches back out to me. This is my joy to be here. It's my joy to help other people to truly reach that higher ground. And I'd love to hear from you soon.
Love it. Well, Kim, thank you so much for being on our show. You guys, if you're listening and you know someone who needs Kim, please go and visit her website, reach out to her. Help and resources are everywhere. You just have to be willing to take the courageous step to get out of that poopy diaper and step into a healthier version, better version of you. So with that, Kim, thank you so much. And you guys, thank you so much for listening to Boss Up Babes show. I appreciate having you. Please like, review, and rate our show. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you for listening to Boss Up Babes with Carissa Adkins, bringing you tangible tips and expert coaching advice to help you boss up and get healthy. Tune in every second and fourth Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com for interviews with industry leaders and powerhouse boss babes that will empower you to take action and live your best life. If you're ready to boss up and work with Carissa in one of her transformative group coaching programs, visit 365dailyhustle.com.